Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate and a two-part interview with the General Secretary of the Samajwadi Party. Will the Samajwadi Party support the Indo-US nuclear deal? And if it comes to a vote of confidence, will it vote with the government? Mr. Amar Singh, let's start with the Indo-US nuclear deal. The National Security Advisor has briefed you. The Prime Minister's office has given out detailed clarifications of your questions, and now former President Kalam has endorsed the deal as being in the national interest. So let me ask you bluntly, does the Samajwadi Party now accept that the Indo-US nuclear deal is critical to India's development and it must be completed?
Yes.
You have no reservations whatsoever?
Absolutely not, because I think that Dr. Kalam is well versed with this deal as compared to any politician in the country, whether be it ADVANI ji, Sonia ji, Manmohan Singh ji, Mulayam Singh ji, Chautala ji or Mulayam Singh ji.
And you accept President Kalam's word 100%?
200%, because he does not have any vested interest. He is the father of nuclear weaponization and missile, and he has said it is in the national interest and it is for pure nuclear energy. I don't know why government has not taken him on board to create a conducive, positive atmosphere in favor of deal.
The interesting thing is President Kalam first made clear his position on the deal 4 months ago. Since then, at least on 4 or 5 separate occasions, he's publicly repeated that he believes the deal is India's interest. Why now, 4 months later, have you suddenly accepted his word? Why did you not accept it 4 months earlier?
Definitely, somehow, for political parties and political personalities, political agenda is of more priority and more indulgence. I somehow missed this comment of Dr. Kalam. And let me tell you today, my erstwhile colleague Chautala ji, it was ironically his suggestion during UNPA press briefing that he said that we will consult Dr. Kalam. If you would have known that he is pro-deal, he would not have suggested that.
But you said something very interesting. You said you missed Dr. Kalam clarifying his position 4 months earlier. Had you known 4 months earlier that Dr. Kalam was in favor of the deal and considered it essential, would you have supported the deal 4 months earlier?
Of course, yes. Because, first of all, the responsibility lies with the UPA government. There was UPA left committee. In such a deal, which is a national deal, it is a deal necessarily not between Congress and US. It is a deal between India and US.
I accept that, and there was no similar committee with the Samajwadi Party.
Not with Samajwadi Party. I said even with any party, every political leadership should have been taken on board.
Let me ask you a second critical question. If the government had briefed you on the deal earlier, would you have accepted and approved of the deal earlier?
I can't say that, but definitely the process which I adopted now, I would have adopted then. Like I would have definitely wanted to be doubly sure, because this is the first time the deal has been given a color. I never knew the deal is pro-national or anti-national, but deal was made out to be pro-Muslim, anti-Muslim. And in this messy political atmosphere, I would have taken a process which I took now at that point of time if I would have known it.
But I just want to repeat something you said earlier. Had you known that President Kalam has endorsed the deal 4 months earlier, you would have accepted it as critical and important and accepted the necessity for the deal 4 months earlier. You said that earlier. I'm just repeating it.
I maintain that.
You maintain that?
Yes.
The Prime Minister has put forward what he calls a reasonable option to all political parties. He's saying, let India complete the IAEA stage, let India complete the NSG stage, and then I will come back to Parliament. Do you think that's a reasonable, acceptable position?
Manmohan Singh is a honorable person, and I am quoting my friend, esteemed colleague, Comrade Karath. He has said he is an honorable person. I am simply repeating what he said earlier publicly.
And so is this, from an honorable person, an acceptable option?
I see no harm in it.
No harm in it?
Yeah.
So in other words, you accept the Prime Minister's position, let India go through the IAEA stage, let it go through the NSG stage, then the Prime Minister can come back to Parliament. You accept that?
I accept that, no problem.
Let me ask you a follow-up question. If 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the road, the Prime Minister were to ask Parliament for support for the deal, would the Samajwadi Party vote in favor of the deal?
We'll definitely do that, categorically do that, because we are not playing any politics. Mr. Vinod Mehta, my friend and editor of a famous English weekly, said that we are different kettle of fish. We will blackmail, we will try to extract our pound of flesh. Through you, Karan, I want to tell there is no pound, there is no flesh. I am not supporting Congress, Manmohan Singh or Sonia ji. I am supporting a national cause as professed by Dr. Kalam.
And that national cause is the deal?
In today's context and in present circumstances, yes.
And if it comes to a vote on the floor of Parliament, you will vote for the deal?
Yes, of course.
Let's then therefore come to the wider political context facing the country today. In the last few days, you have repeatedly said, your leader, Mr. Mulayam Singh, has repeatedly said that your #1 priority is to fight against what you call communal forces and to do everything in your power to ensure that they don't gain in power, that they don't come to office. Many people say that if an early election were held, the two parties that would be advantaged and which would benefit are the BJP and the BSP. Does it therefore follow that the Samajwadi Party will do everything to ensure early elections do not happen?
See, this is not in my hand, and I cannot manufacture the date of election.
But to the extent to which you can influence it and control it, will you do everything to avoid early elections?
It is not that I will do everything to avoid early election. I will do everything to avoid the rise and growth of communal forces.
And if early elections benefit communal forces, then will you do everything to prevent early elections? Everything that you can do?
Again, Karan, you are coming, it's a merry-go-round. You are asking the question in a different format. Let me complete what I want to say. See, imperialism and communalism. Bush and Advani. Between imperialism and communalism, communalism is a bigger danger than imperialism according to us. And between Bush and Advani, Bush is finished. Even if Republicans will win, McCain will come. Bush, as per the US Constitution, is not going to come back again. So his tyrannical attitude towards Iraq and Muslim world is a past saga. But Advani is on the advent of growth. And the politics of Advani and Narendra Modi, unlike liberal face of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, is not going to be repeated. So under the circumstances, the choice is not between America and India. The choice is between Bush and Advani. So for the Muslims and for the secular people of this country, the priority is to rise the growth of Advani and along with Narendra Modi.
Then let me put it like this. If early elections benefit Narendra Modi and Advani, will you do everything in your power to stop early elections?
Of course.
Of course.
Yes.
Then let me ask you a further question. If the government goes to the IAEA and the left withdraws support, and it therefore comes to a vote of confidence on the floor of the House, will you vote in favor of the government to prevent early elections?
100%.
100%?
Yes.
There is no question of any doubt?
No question of any doubt.
And you won't change your mind between now and the vote of confidence whenever it happens?
It is not a question of supporting Mrs. Sonia Gandhi led Congress. It is not a question of supporting UPA government led by Manmohan Singh. I am not a part of UPA. I don't have any formal, informal alliance with Congress. I am only going to support this dispensation in order to check the rising growth of Narendra Modi, Narendra Modi, LK Advani and Mayawati Trayaka.
Absolutely. And for that reason, you have said that 100% you will vote with the government in a vote of confidence.
With no demand of ministerial birth, with no give and take, and there is no question of deal behind deal.
Then let me ask you, is this unconditional support that you are giving the government, or is it only issue-based support?
That moment has not yet come. Still the matrimonial discord is there, but the divorce has not happened.
That's between the government and the left.
But let it happen. When this situation will come, I will decide, and I am not alone to decide. Party leadership will decide.
So at the moment you're
saying... But one thing is certain. We are not going to give certificate to this government for the rising inflation and price rise and the attitude of petroleum ministry, where...
I understand. I'll come to that in a moment's time because I really want to explore those differences that you have with this government in detail. But first, let me come back. You're saying to me that at this moment, the Samajwadi Party hasn't made up its mind whether the support it gives the government will be unconditional or whether it will be issue-based.
Though we have not yet taken any decision, we will take when time comes. But definitely we are not part of the UPA. We are not, this decision should not be seen in political light.
Do you have serious differences on issues that could actually endanger this government?
Yes, there are serious issues.
So when you say, or if you were to decide that this is only issue-based support, you would still be leaving the government hesitant and weak. They couldn't be sure of surviving for very long.
That is for them to take stock of that situation. But how can I, you see, my stated stand, how can I change? About the nuclear, Indo-US nuclear deal, when did we change? After Narayanan, we have not changed. After PM's open clarification given to public, I have not changed. Only when Kalam has endorsed, we have changed.
I understand.
So we cannot go back on price rise, inflation, and the attitude of Petroleum Ministry.
So price rise, inflation, and the attitude of the Petroleum Ministry are all sticking points where you have serious differences with the government.
Very serious differences.
And on those issues, if the government doesn't handle them properly, you could, in fact, withdraw support at some point.
I am not saying that, but anything may happen.
Anything may happen.
Yeah.
In other words, you are repeating once again that at the moment this is not unconditional support, it's issue-based. And secondly, there are some issues on which you have serious differences where anything can happen.
It will not happen, but it may happen.
There is therefore a question mark. There is a little room for problem.
If you say so, it is.
Does it not worry you that this is leaving the government in tension and a little weak, all of which could help communal forces? The very people that you want to check and defeat could gain an advantage from this lack of clarity.
Yes, it worries me, and that is why during my conversation with Sonia ji and Prime Minister, I raised this point. In black and white, I have given my suggestion to check inflation. I have said that a very big scam of spectrum allocation to the tune of thousands of crores is likely to happen. And the Finance Ministry is at the verge of evolution. And I have given in black and white, I can give that make that document public, that multinationals like Vodafone and other companies, they have used extra allocation of spectrum and they have not paid the money required to pay.
And on all these, you want the government to take what you would consider corrective action?
Of course, I am not asking ministry, I am not asking any pound of flesh.
But this is what you want?
Of course, but how can I overnight say I am not involved in any process of the governance?
That I understand.
And how can I be party to Mr. Chidambaram's and Murali Deora's decision of price rise and inflation?
What if the government doesn't take corrective action in terms of inflation, in terms of Mr. Murali Deora's handling of the Petroleum Ministry, in terms of what you just discussed about spectrum allocation? What if corrective action isn't taken? Then what happens?
I think that Manmohan Singh ji is very seasoned, mature politician. If Samajwadi Party is prepared to take corrective stand for vital national importance on the issues like Indo-US nuclear deal, I don't see reason that why Prime Minister will not take the decision. When we raised these things with Sonia ji, she candidly told us that look, it is a matter of the government, you raise these issues with the Prime Minister.
And you are confident that with that response from Sonia and with the belief that Dr. Manmohan Singh is an honorable, sensible politician, that corrective action in these three areas will be taken?
It will be taken, and if it is not taken, at least he will make an effort to make us understand where we are going wrong, and we are open to reason. And again, I am telling you, I am not against Murali and Chidambaram. Chidambaram is a good personal friend of mine.
Absolutely, you said that on television, but you are against the way Chidambaram is handling inflation. You are against the way Mr. Deora is handling petroleum exports. You want them banned, just as steel and cement has been banned. You also want windfall profits charged to companies like ours.
And I object to Mr. Deora's open statement that what is wrong in making windfall profit. He is Petroleum Minister of the country. He should talk about the middle class of the nation. He must not behave like a representative of big corporate company.
Let's take a break at that point. In the limited time available in this interview, I want to come back and put to you the critical question that must be in everyone's mind at this moment. What if Mr. Chidambaram and Mr. Deora don't change their policies? What if Dr. Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi aren't able to persuade them? Then what happens to the Samajwadi Party? Then what happens to the government? That's in a moment. See you after the break. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an interview with the General Secretary of the Samajwadi Party, Rajya Sabha MP, Amar Singh. Mr. Amar Singh, let's pick up that critical question with which we ended part one. What if Mr. Murli Deora, what if Mr. Chidambaram do not change their policies, and what if Mrs. Gandhi and Dr. Manmohan Singh can't persuade them? Then what?
I know a little bit of Indian politics and Congress, and the leaders you are mentioning. Mrs. Gandhi has got total authority in her party, and Dr. Manmohan Singh is a man with great, strong resolve. If you can take on very strong forces supportive of this government, I don't think that it will be difficult for him to tame a timid personality like Murli Deora, who does not have a great substantial mass base for himself. I see no reason why he will not be able.
Can he tame Mr. Chidambaram?
Mr. Chidambaram is very honest, very able, and very sharp man.
But Mr. Chidambaram is absolutely convinced that the policy he is pursuing to fight inflation is the right one. He said that to me last week. Why do you think now he'll change that policy?
Let me tell you, you have not seen the flexibility in Mr. Chidambaram. I have seen. The loan waiver for the farmers, when as UNPA leaders we initiated this campaign, was also not his cup of tea. He's a man with believing in a strong fiscal discipline, but he succumbed. He will have to
succumbed there. You say he will succumb here.
I am not using this strong word of succumbing for Chidambaram. He is my friend, and he is very polished gentleman, and he knows there is political reality, there is a fiscal reality, and there is a pragmatism of coalition dharma. And he is definitely going to find a way, and he is not going to do anything that will hurt the longevity of his own tenure as finance minister.
Then let me put this to you. If you are really so genuinely confident that both Mr. Deora and Mr. Chidambaram will change their policies, and the issues on which you have serious differences, if in fact objections, will be resolved, then at that point, will you at that point give this government unconditional support?
See, this is the matter that cannot be confirmed by me as an individual, Karan. It has to be a collective decision of the
But would
party.
you personally be in favor at that point?
This is something which is very strategic, which is very serious. This is not something to be committed openly on television show. So please don't persist me to commit. But I have got my own view on this, and that view is conducive to what it should be.
And conducive to what I'm asking?
Maybe.
That sounds like yes. If we get to the point where you give the government unconditional support, will you also then seriously think of an alliance to fight the UP seats at the Lok Sabha, again as a way of containing and combating communal forces?
Let me tell you, without any formal alliance, without any tie-up, without any cordiality, merely on the asking of Suresh Pachori, in Madhya Pradesh, I have got 8 MLAs. I was personally in Madhya Pradesh to ensure victory of a secular candidate supported by Congress, a gentleman called Vivek Tankha. And there was no call from Sonia Gandhi, there was no request from Congress. Even then I did it. So I would want Congress to respond in the same manner, not only in Uttar Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh, in Maharashtra. And if there is a larger cohesive understanding, a formal conversation, a formal discussion may begin. But it is a far-fetched dream.
I understand. But would you personally be in favor of not just a temporary relationship of convenience, but a longer-term political alliance so that you can together fight what you call communal forces?
This is a question you should get answer from Sonia ji.
What is your personal answer?
No, I cannot.
Are you in favor?
No, I cannot say anything right now publicly, because unless I know the response of the party and people concerned.
I understand. If they say yes, I'll say yes, but I don't want to say yes in advance in case they say no.
No, there is no such thing. There is no such thing. It is little premature according to me.
Premature, but
Premature.
not out of the question.
How can it be anything out of question when we are heading towards a common goal of checking the rise and growth of communal forces led by LK Advani, Mayawati and Narendra Modi.
Let's leave this particular interview there. In part 2, I want to talk to you about the political responses and reactions to the new relationship between Congress and the Samajwadi Party. How do you respond to both your critics and to your allies who now feel betrayed? That's in part 2 of this interview. But for now, goodbye, good night.